Will African nations face isolation if they cut ties with Western powers? While Western governments often warn that countries like Burkina Faso would be helpless without their support, the reality on the ground tells a different story. Nations such as Venezuela and Cuba have already demonstrated solidarity with Burkina Faso. Following the example set by Iran and Russia, these countries believe that Burkina Faso's shift away from the West could be beneficial, both politically and economically. However, Western powers are not pleased with this development and have shown open disapproval of President Ibrahim Traore, who is behind these bold moves. Historically, we have seen how Western nations react to leaders who resist their influence, often with attempts to destabilize or undermine them. So, will history repeat itself with Burkina Faso? Time will tell. Imagine a nation in the heart of Africa standing up to global superpowers, forging new alliances, and redefining its path forward. Under the leadership of Traore, Burkina Faso is navigating a complex geopolitical landscape, aligning with allies in South America and Russia to build a future less dependent on its former colonial rulers. What led to this dramatic geopolitical shift in Burkina Faso? Historically, this West African nation, rich in resources yet landlocked, has been under significant French influence. Since gaining power in a military-led transition in September 2022, Traore has been intent on breaking away from this legacy. On February 8, 2024, he took a decisive stand by ordering French troops to leave Burkina Faso. This bold expulsion marked the beginning of a profound shift in the nation's foreign policy, a clear stand against neocolonialism, and a powerful statement of sovereignty. Traore's actions are now paving the way for new alliances, especially with South American nations like Venezuela, who share a vision of self-reliance and anti-imperialism. The colonial history between Burkina Faso and France has long kept the West African nation under French influence, with France benefiting economically from its resources. By expelling French troops, Traore's administration sent a powerful signal that Burkina Faso is reclaiming its sovereignty and moving away from foreign interference. This act resonated with other African nations also seeking to escape neo-colonial ties, positioning Traore as a symbol of the struggle for true independence. His administration recently announced an end to the 2018 military agreement that allowed French troops to operate in Burkina Faso against militant groups. This decision came as Burkina Faso, alongside other nations in the Sahel region, has faced insurgencies from groups linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS, with vast areas destabilized and millions displaced. The expulsion of French troops sent shockwaves through international circles, igniting discussions on decolonization and self-determination across the continent. Some have praised Traore's bold stance, while others worry about potential repercussions, especially from Western powers accustomed to exerting influence in the region. This critical moment has reshaped Burkina Faso's foreign policy, emphasizing partnerships with countries that respect its sovereignty and share its aspirations for economic independence. Traore's move reflects a broader trend among African leaders, who are increasingly rejecting neo-colonial ties in favor of more equitable and mutually beneficial relationships. Many see this shift as essential for achieving lasting stability and prosperity in the region. The implications of this realignment are profound. By moving away from France, Burkina Faso is not only asserting its independence but also demonstrating to other African nations that reliance on former colonial powers is not the only path to development. Traore's government is actively working to form partnerships grounded in mutual respect and shared goals, rather than historical ties rooted in exploitation. Now, let's explore Burkina Faso's emerging alliances and their potential impact. One of Burkina Faso's most significant new partnerships is with Venezuela. How did this alliance come about, and what are its key elements? After Burkina Faso's bold move to expel French forces, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro quickly reached out, inviting Traore for discussions. This invitation marked the beginning of a promising partnership between the two nations. In a high-profile meeting, Burkina Faso's Foreign Minister, Jean-Marie Traore, and Venezuela's Foreign Minister, Ivan Gil, signed a set of 20 cooperation agreements. These agreements span a wide range of sectors, including aeronautics, agriculture, civil protection, culture, sports, oil, education, and science and technology. This comprehensive partnership reflects a strong commitment to mutual growth and the reinforcement of South-South cooperation. Beyond economic ties, Venezuela has offered military support to Burkina Faso, strengthening their shared anti-imperialist stance. Minister Gil has expressed Venezuela's readiness to deepen ties with Burkina Faso and other African nations within the framework of South-South collaboration. The agreements also include plans for a delegation of Burkina-based specialists and technicians to visit Venezuela to gain insights into the oil industry, a crucial move for Burkina Faso's economic development. The cooperation agreements cover various strategic areas, each essential for sustainable development in both countries. In aeronautics, there are discussions about joint ventures to advance technology and infrastructure. In agriculture, both countries aim to exchange expertise to enhance food security and increase local production. Cultural exchanges are intended to foster understanding and solidarity between their citizens. Sports and education initiatives are also central to the partnership, focusing on building stronger, more educated, and healthier communities. These sectors are key to long-term national development and aim to create a stable foundation for future generations. Military collaboration is another crucial aspect of the Burkina Faso-Venezuela alliance. Venezuela's pledge to support Burkina Faso militarily could help bolster its defense and contribute to regional stability. This aspect of the partnership is part of a broader strategy to resist external pressures and assert national sovereignty. The significance of these agreements goes beyond immediate gains. They represent a mutual commitment to a vision of development that prioritizes independence and self-sufficiency, over dependency on foreign aid from Western powers. Add your voice to the total liberation of Africa by leaving a comment in the comments section below. Do not forget to like and subscribe for more informative videos like this one. Let's proceed. This partnership is emblematic of a wider shift towards South-South cooperation, where developing countries work together to support each other's growth and autonomy. Burkina Faso's new alliances not only enhance its own security and economic prospects, but also inspire other nations to consider alternative paths to development, free from historical constraints. The question arises, what are the broader international implications of Burkina Faso's new alliances under Captain Ibrahim Traore's leadership? Burkina Faso's alignment with Venezuela is not an isolated occurrence but part of a larger network involving South American countries and Russia. Historically, nations like Cuba, Venezuela, and Argentina have supported Russia, especially during the Cold War, when figures like Fidel Castro, Hugo Chavez, and Che Guevara spearheaded anti-imperialist movements. Their legacies persist today, with Venezuela's support for Burkina Faso representing a continuation of this shared vision. This alliance reflects Burkina Faso's significant shift away from traditional Western partnerships, signaling a move toward alliances with countries that oppose imperialist influences. Economically, these partnerships open new development paths across various sectors including energy, agriculture, and education. Access to Venezuelan expertise and resources could help Burkina Faso diversify its economy and reduce dependency on former colonial powers. Militarily, support from countries like Venezuela and Cuba, which maintain close ties with Russia, could bolster Burkina Faso's defense capabilities, empowering it to resist external pressures and secure its borders. This alliance may also reshape the political dynamics of West Africa. Burkina Faso's defiance of Western powers and its alignment with South America and Russia could encourage other African nations to reconsider their own foreign policies. This realignment could potentially disrupt the current power structures that have traditionally been dominated by former colonial powers and their allies. Furthermore, the growing ties between Burkina Faso and Venezuela may serve as a model for other African nations to explore similar alliances, contributing to a more multipolar world where influence is shared more equally among various regions, diminishing Western dominance. In addition, the strengthening of relationships between nations in the global South could lead to the formation of new economic and political alliances that challenge the current international status quo, promoting a fairer global order. As Burkina Faso asserts its autonomy, international organizations such as the United Nations and the African Union may need to adapt to these changing dynamics, addressing the evolving needs of nations seeking greater independence and rejecting traditional power hierarchies. The alliance with Venezuela and other South American countries underscores the importance of South-South cooperation, an approach that emphasizes solidarity and mutual benefit among developing nations, contrasting with the hierarchical relationships often seen with Western powers. This cooperative framework provides a platform for countries to share knowledge, resources, and strategies for sustainable growth, fostering more equitable development. Moreover, this geopolitical shift could impact global energy markets. By strengthening its ties with Venezuela, a major oil-producing nation, Burkina Faso may gain access to essential energy resources and expertise, bolstering its energy security and reducing dependence on Western energy supplies. This move could prompt other countries to diversify their own energy sources, potentially altering global energy dynamics and encouraging a shift towards more resilient energy infrastructures. As Burkina Faso's alliances evolve, Western nations have closely monitored these developments. In response, sanctions have been imposed on Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, with the intent of pressuring these countries to revert to traditional Western alliances. However, these sanctions have only reinforced the resolve of Burkina Faso and its allies, prompting the nation to further seek alternative support. In a historic move, the military juntas in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger recently announced their immediate withdrawal from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. This joint decision was a response to what they described as inhumane sanctions imposed by the regional bloc, which they argue was an attempt to reverse recent coups. The juntas contend that ECOWAS, influenced by foreign powers, has strayed from its foundational Pan-African ideals and now poses a threat to its member states and their citizens. This bold statement underlines their commitment to complete sovereignty and reflects growing disillusionment with traditional Western-influenced institutions. The three countries have not only forged a security alliance, but have also severed military ties with France and other European nations, seeking support from Russia instead. In a show of solidarity, Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro sent a delegation to Burkina Faso on July 2, 2024, to reaffirm South America's commitment to supporting Burkina Faso's path toward greater autonomy. During the visit, the delegation met with Captain Traore to discuss military and economic support, underscoring the deepening ties between the two regions and their shared commitment to mutual development. This realignment in Burkina Faso's foreign policy has sparked debates within the country and among its allies. Some argue that aligning with anti-imperialist forces is the right path forward, while others believe that maintaining a balanced relationship with Western nations is crucial for economic stability. However, the Western sanctions have only strengthened the resolve of Traore's administration to explore new partnerships and resist external pressure. The support from Venezuela and other South American allies has provided Burkina Faso with both resources and the confidence to stand firm. Regional organizations like ECOWAS have reacted to Burkina Faso's new alliances with concern, emphasizing the need for dialogue and regional unity. ECOWAS, traditionally more aligned with Western powers, now faces a dilemma balancing regional stability with the sovereignty of individual member states. Burkina Faso's decision to align with anti-imperialist forces presents a challenge to the existing balance of power in West Africa and raises critical questions about the future of regional cooperation. International bodies such as the United Nations have also taken note, underscoring the importance of peaceful conflict resolution and adherence to international norms. As Burkina Faso navigates its new alliances, the global community will be watching closely to ensure that these partnerships align with broader principles of stability and respect for human rights. Ultimately, Burkina Faso's new alliances signal a significant shift in its foreign policy direction, marking a move towards greater self-reliance and regional solidarity. While this shift offers protection from external pressures, the path forward will require careful diplomacy and strategic planning to maintain stability and foster a sustainable, independent future for the nation. The current trajectory of Burkina Faso's foreign relations reveals a nation standing at a pivotal crossroads. Under President Ibrahim Traore, Burkina Faso faces a defining choice. Should it deepen its alliances with countries like Venezuela, Cuba, and Russia, or should it reconsider and realign with ECOWAS, an organization that aligns more closely with Western powers like the United States and France? Forging closer ties with anti-imperialist nations could open doors to unique economic and military partnerships, potentially spurring investment in critical areas such as infrastructure, resource management, and defense. These alliances with Venezuela and other South American countries might help Burkina Faso build a more self-reliant economy, free from Western dominance. This shift could provide resources, technology transfer, and expertise that would stimulate local industry, create jobs, and encourage economic growth. However, such a path does not come without risks. Closer alignment with these anti-Western forces could provoke economic sanctions and diplomatic isolation, cutting Burkina Faso off from Western aid, trade, and investment opportunities. On the other hand, if President Traore chooses to rejoin ECOWAS and strengthen ties with Western powers, Burkina Faso could benefit from immediate economic stability and access to international aid packages. This would help stabilize the economy in the short term, but it may also come at the cost of Burkina Faso's autonomy and its resistance to neo-colonial influence, as it may have to adhere to policies dictated by Western nations. The decision President Traore makes will have long-lasting implications, not just for Burkina Faso, but also for the broader African continent. Should Traore's independent approach prove successful, it could inspire other African nations to pursue similar alliances and adopt foreign policies rooted in self-determination. This movement could usher in a new era of decolonization, where African nations unite, control their own resources and political futures without Western intervention. Moreover, alliances with nations like Venezuela offer the possibility of knowledge exchange and technological advancement that could help Burkina Faso build a more resilient and diversified economy. However, these gains must be weighed against the potential consequences. Sanctions from Western countries could hinder access to global markets, making it challenging to trade, attract foreign investment, or participate in international organizations. Navigating these challenges will require Burkina Faso to employ strategic diplomacy and a clear vision for its future. Internally, Burkina Faso's leadership must also consider the views and aspirations of its own citizens. Building a strong national consensus and ensuring public support are essential for any foreign policy strategy to succeed. By engaging with civil society and fostering open dialogue, Traore's government can promote national unity, resilience, and trust in their pursuit of greater sovereignty. As Burkina Faso continues on this transformative journey, it marks a significant shift away from reliance on former colonial powers, evidenced by the expulsion of French troops and the formation of new partnerships with Venezuela and others. These alliances offer a chance for Burkina Faso to build a future rooted in sovereignty and self-reliance, though they also bring the risk of Western backlash and potential isolation. In this critical moment, Burkina Faso's future hinges on its ability to balance its pursuit of autonomy with the demands of a complex global environment. The choices made by President Traore and his government will shape not only Burkina Faso's position on the global stage, but also serve as an example for other African nations striving for independence from neo-colonial influence. Does Burkina Faso or Africa as a whole really need the West? Should African nations continue partnerships that often come with exploitation masked as friendship? Imagine a future where African nations stand truly united and self-sufficient. Let us know which path you believe Burkina Faso should take. Tell us what you think in the comments section below. We explore the rich history, culture, and the ongoing struggle for sovereignty in Africa. Join us in this important conversation by subscribing to our channel. By subscribing, you're not just staying informed, you're becoming part of a movement dedicated to reclaiming Africa's rightful place on the global stage. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Let's work together to spread knowledge and inspire change. Thanks for watching.